Good morning and welcome. Thank you all for being here on this very icy, blustery, freezing morning. We appreciate you coming in person, and we appreciate everyone who's tuning in on our live stream channels. A special welcome for those of you visiting for the first time. Thank you again for being here. We will begin with our Shoshinge chant and incense offering. And our Shoshinge is chanted from this little book in the seat back pocket in front of you. And if you open it up, we will chant from the right-hand column to the left vertically. So that's how that works. And you just sort of pronounce it like you would pronounce Spanish. It's Japanese, but it's very easy to pronounce. So, or you can just sit and listen. Just feel the good energy. Chanting is a core practice of our Shin Buddhist tradition. Shinran Shonin, our founder over there on that founder's wall, wrote the Shoshinge more than 800 years ago. It compresses his experiences and insights of practicing Pure Land Buddhism into one pleasantly long poem. And he is certainly with us today as we honor him by chanting this beautiful poem. In it, we realize the principles that guide our lives. Shinran wants us to know that life is more than a simple journey from cradle to grave. We are a part of a long, unbroken thread of life which extends deep into the past, and we are responsible for extending that thread into the future. And we will offer incense. Everyone is encouraged to come up to the Oshoko altar here to offer incense, and if you're at home, please offer at your home altars. Incense offering is a cleansing of the mind and body before receiving the Dharma. So it's important to offer that incense in gratitude to all of the wisdom and compassion that surrounds us and supports us every day. We have two other altars here in our Hondo. To the south is our Kanon altar for prayers of compassion. And you may light a candle there and direct your compassionate prayers to anyone who needs more compassion or possibly someone who has passed on. And then to the north, right here is our Medicine Buddha altar, and you may offer incense to ask for extra healing energy for yourself or for others. And here on this high altar is Amida Buddha, offering boundless wisdom and compassion. Please offer incense with the deepest gratitude to all of your teachers. Namo Bums, Namo Bums, Namo Bums.
Hot mic.
Shoshinge. Kimyo munyo junyorai. Namu fukashigi ko hozo bosai niji. Zai seiji zai obusho, token shobu jodo in, kokudo ningen shizen maku, konru mujo shushogan, choho keiu daiguze, goko shi yui shi shoju, juse myosho monji po, uho muryo muhenko, muge mutai koen no, shoujo kangi chie ko, udan nan shi mushoko, 超日が交渉人生一切群上無交渉本願用語症状語死神信行願人上等学書大涅槃非死滅道願成就如来所意公衆性唯性未打本願会五直惑自群上会往生如来如実言の法一年喜愛心不断本の特寧藩本性逆法再永入領主死入開一味聖主信仰上昇後意の水波無明湾頓内心臓死運無上不信じ信心天非尿に幸福運無運無しげ妙無安逆心謙虚大狂気即を超税後悪種一切全幕本部人門心如来偶税願文言古代諸芸者税人名分だりけ未だ部本元年部茶謙虚満悪衆上信行十字人に難中死難昔インド最天子論芸中華自治一期思考層現代諸公正所意妙如来本税大き釈迦如来ヨガ戦一種五妙難天軸ルジュ大事出頭性出の財波有無権先税大乗無情報召喚議事昭和楽賢治難行六六信行異行指導楽億年未打部本願人年即時入筆上唯の上昇如来語ほほ大悲偶税音天神菩薩増論税奇妙無下根如来平衆たら謙信寺高専老長来世願こういう本願力栄光異道群上小維心記入功徳大法会筆略入大永修修特使蓮華造世会即小信用法小心有本の人間人図入賞自音自王下本自動乱両天使上皇乱勝菩薩来三蔵如是十条教本性専業気楽法天神菩薩論中下報道因果見世願法華猫有他力少女死因唯心人惑前本部新人法承知承持即涅槃必死無量光明道所有衆生回復系同社継承道難所有名浄土活入万全自力変言中変満特語感染症三風三神慶音言増魔法明道非因一生増惑地偶税思案了解称名化全道独名部所意公愛上作女逆惑公明明語見因年介入本願大智慧行者小樹金剛心狂気一年総合用意大と逆三人即小小四上楽現心公開一大教 henki anyo kani sai, senzo shushin hansenjin, hoke nido shoben ryu, gokuju akunin yui shombu, kayaku zai hi se shuchu, ponno shogen sui fuken, dai hi muken jo shoga, honji gengu myo bukyo, renmin zen magubon bunin, shinshu kyosho kohenshu, senjaku hongangu akuse, gendai shoji rindenge, keichi gijo ishoshi, sokunu jakujo mu iraku, hichi shinji ni non yu, bukyo daiji shushito, josai muhen goku joku aku, dozoku jishu gudoshin, yui ka shin shi, koso se, eko. Ganishi kudoku Byodo Sei Sai Doho Bodai Shin Hojo
I would announce Dharma School now. Children and their parents and anyone who needs to go to Dharma School today is welcome to go follow Aaron to Dharma School. We will sing them downstairs to Hurama Hall with Let the Buddha Walk With You.
Of no regrets. Hozo Bodhisattva's aspiration from the larger Pure Land Sutra, otherwise known as the Tanbutsuge. Dear teacher, the light of your face is unsurpassed in majesty. Your awesome greatness is beyond limit, a brightly shining flame with no equal. Next to your brilliance, even the brightness of sun, moon, and Manji jewel seem covered in black ink. Tathagata's transcendent appearance has no comparison in all the world. The whole universe vibrates with the great sound of your enlightenment. Your rare and superior virtues of wisdom, understanding, deep meditation, and strength of endeavor are awesome, beyond comparison. Your meditation to the innermost depths of all the Buddha-Dharma oceans is without limit, bringing full understanding. Ignorance, greed, and anger do not reside in the world-honored one, the man of lion. Your noble virtues are immeasurable. Your meritorious service is vast and great. The depths of your wisdom is profound. Your majestic appearance of light illumines the entire universe. When I become a Buddha equal to the Dharma King, I vow to transcend life and death and free all beings. Among virtues of dana, readiness, discipline, patience, and endeavor, the highest shall be deep meditation and wisdom. I will become a Buddha and completely fulfill my vow. I will bring great peace to all who are in doubt or in fear. Even though there are a myriad Buddhas and sages as numerous as the sands of the Ganges, and I were to honor them all, it is still better for me to be faithful and strong in seeking the true path, never retreating. The Buddha worlds, also innumerable as the Ganges sands, will be completely illuminated by my shining light. The strength of my effort in this endeavor is beyond measure. When I become a Buddha, my land will be the finest. All the beings there will be exquisitely beautiful. My realm will be like nirvana, a place of practice, transcendent beyond words, without equal. Beings will come from the 10 directions to be born in my country. They will be pure, their minds filled with gladness. Those in my pleasant country will be peaceful and at ease. Please, dear teacher, accept this proof of my sincerity. Here I establish my vow. Through strength and endeavor, I shall fulfill this desire. The wisdom of all the Buddhas of the 10 directions is unimpeded. May they always know my intent, even though my body may undergo many sufferings and much pain. I shall never cease in my efforts. Whatever I must bear, I shall have no regrets. May chanting the sutra inspire all beings to awaken the spark to seek enlightenment in the Pure Land. We will now have a few moments of meditation accompanied by peaceful music.
Can you hear me now? Yes. Oh, good. Okay. Good morning and welcome to Reno Buddhist Center. Happy Boxing Day. It's some English thing. I don't really understand it. Something about leftovers, but I still don't quite understand. It has nothing to do with the Marquis of Queensberry. So, we are so happy to be here with you in this, sharing this precious moment together. Even more precious, given that there's so few of us who've braved the elements. I do want to remember to occasionally, I'm looking at the AV person and he's making gestures. Okay, I feel as though my mic is ringing a bit. Is it okay, or is it ringing? It's ringing. You need to turn down the gain on my mic just a teensy bit would be good. Yeah, okay, that seems better. Okay. So, Boxing Day, punching gesture. Okay, wait. We're happy to share this time together. I'm wondering where all the other people are, but no, I want to acknowledge them because they're probably behind that little black box over there. So, I'm talking to you now. Thank you for tuning in. Okay. So it's so hard to do a live TV show. We did so many of them last year, and I'd kind of lost the knack for it. Maybe intentionally got rid of the knack for it, but good to be together. Okay, remember that everyone is welcome at RBC. Many of you had special holiday celebrations yesterday. It's kind of a magical time of year. When the Buddha was enlightened, the Enlightenment was the 8th of December, and that ushers in a season of giving, presided over by a jolly old elf you're all familiar with, perhaps a bodhisattva named Mr. Claus. In a smaller room with less people, it's harder to know if there's a reaction, because usually I feel, okay, so. Well, this is not our tradition. It's always, Buddhism is always very comfortable enjoying colorful local customs. So we get into it too. Dr. Matsunaga's Bodhi tree here, you see, and beneath it there is a Shakyamuni Buddha seated in the posture of touching the earth. The witnessing of the enlightenment is that particular mudra in the statue there. A tree, an enlightenment, and the Buddha gave us a great gift. His teaching. The Buddhist practice of dana, or selfless giving, is really the best place to start with Buddhism. We can give to others, give to the temple. The most important thing is to give without expectation of return or reward. That's really what makes dana dana. Our topic today is Ho Ho Tei and other bodhisattvas. So, the gentle being here on the Oshoka altar is Ho Tei. I added the hat and the little gifts he's carrying, but you can get the reference there, I'm sure. Who or maybe what is the Mahayana practice of being a bodhisattva? We can start to recognize that this bodhisattva energy is already part of our lives. The sacred bodhisattva stories are the most accessible places we hear about them, but we know Kannon Bodhisattva and Seishi, Jizo, little Jizo's here, and Ho Tei there on the altar. We know all of them, we recognize them, we've seen them in other places too. Bodhisattva is an ancient Indian word, and it really describes someone who has made a grand vow. The main responsibility of a bodhisattva is to educate all beings about the Buddha's wisdom and to spread the Dharma. They may do this through compassionate action, through sharing the wisdom and giving precious gifts, often unbidden. The bodhisattva will eventually become a Buddha, as we heard in the Dharma reading, but only after their great vow is fulfilled. All bodhisattvas have this vow to relieve the suffering of sentient beings in one way or another. They want to show us the truly joyful experience of life that most of us are missing out on. So, they come to us in various manifestations to protect us when and where we need it, as and when we cry out. In this way, the spirit of great compassion is brought by the Bodhisattva. It's planted like a seed almost in the hearts of so many people. The 6th century Buddhist teacher Shantideva, who was a professor at Nalanda University, just seeing if any of our pilgrims who went to India with us are here. There's one, and we went to Nalanda University, and it's not quite so grand anymore because they burned it down, but invasions will do that, But it was a fantastic university back then. And Shantideva taught there. And he wrote a wonderful treatise about the Bodhisattva called the Bodhisattva Karya Vatara, the Bodhisattva life, it's called. Having touched awakening, the Bodhisattva vows to lead others to awakening. That's what Shantideva said. A Bodhisattva is someone who has made this firm vow to eventually reach enlightenment and to become a Buddha. They have initiated bodhicitta, enlightenment aspiration or enlightenment mind. It's the mind that perseveres toward awakening, using empathy and compassion to benefit all sentient beings. This is how they help others awaken. The Bodhisattva spirit has set their mind to compassionate action for the sake of all beings. Anyone can do this if you are aware of the impermanence of life and step onto the path of Buddhism, and you work toward rescuing sentient beings from the ocean of births and deaths. No matter who you are, regardless of status, as long as that spark of bodhicitta ignites, you can be a bodhisattva. From the vow of a bodhisattva to the moment of becoming a Buddha, many lifetimes will pass, and they will endure much suffering just by being in samsara many extra lifetimes. To get there from here, know that you will have to diligently practice and generate a large and positive energetic field. You will need to have long-lasting motivation, seeing others as yourself, seeing other people's drowning as if you yourself were drowning. Bodhisattvas are quite heroic. To start, making this big vow to live by is a heroic act. And on top of that, they bravely follow Buddhist practice to transcend birth and death and discover antidotes to all the worries of our life. With great resolve, they are enabled to go fearlessly into the Saha world again and again, resolving those sufferings of other beings and bringing them to happiness. The jolly old elf does this, and Ho Ho Tei does this. The Bodhisattva path begins with cultivating compassion. Compassion is the energy of enlightenment. Our Jataka tales are stories of the Buddha's past lives. And before enlightenment, he followed this Bodhisattva path. He sacrificed his life many times, in many circumstances, from feeding himself to a tiger to help the mother tiger who had babies and needed to make milk for the tiger, to being a wise king that guided a kingdom forward through troubles. The Jataka stories include a wide cast of characters, human, animal, deva, all different kinds, and the characters will interact, they get into some kind of trouble, and then, and this is the way all these stories go, in some kind of trouble, and then the Buddha as Bodhisattva intervenes to solve whatever the problem may be in the story and bring about a positive resolution. So, those who follow this path constantly practice observing their own ignorance, incapacity, and delusion. because they have not yet completely transcended them. They've vowed to stay in this complicated world, in this complicated mode. It's probably quite torturous to understand and recognize that you have delusions and not get over them. So they've done that for us. So they diligently study the Dharma, aspiring to Buddhahood, and they cultivate the 6 essential values we call the paramitas. Sometimes people say perfections, but that's kind of perfect, and if you've ever been in around anyone who is trying to be perfect, they're really insufferable to live with. So I like to call the paramitas the paths to the other shore. And those are generosity, dana paramita, we talked about that, giving. Sila, which is good conduct, sila paramita. Kshanti, which is patience and endurance, really acceptance is an important value that we all have, but when we are blessed by a bodhisattva in a certain way, we can get through much more than we thought we could. Virya, or vigor, energy. All of you have shown that today by making it through the storm to come here. And those of you who are there in the little box, just pump up that virya, or be safe. I know roads might be slippery or something, but virya. And dhyana, which translates maybe as quietude or meditation, opening to everything is a good way to say it. And last, the paramita of prajna, of wisdom, that leads to the other shore. That's what a bodhisattva is, or who they are. In the sacred stories, there are all kinds of bodhisattvas. Sometimes the Buddha will sit down and to do a Dharma talk, and then the students will be there, monks and nuns, students, and then lay students, and then there'll be some devas kind of come down. I think you can see in the lamps above me there's some devas floating around. And they look like mermaids. They don't have legs. Devas don't have legs because they can fly, I guess, in heavenly space. Anyway, and then there are a multitude of bodhisattvas, too, that come to hear the Dharma talks. And they can come, the nice thing about higher beings is they can transit space and time in ways we don't understand. But there are so many of them, but there are a few we know. Like I said, Kanon. Seishi is the one on the left-hand side of Amida in the triptych above the door here. Seishi is the bodhisattva of the energy of wisdom. Jizo, right here. I don't know if you can even see Jizo. He may be out of the frame. Jizo. And Ho Ho Tei. So, first of all, Kanon Bodhisattva. Some people know him, her as Avalokiteshvara or Kuan Yin, many different names for the same being. The spirit of great compassion, led by this champion of mercy, is the foundation of our Mahayana Buddhism. Among the many bodhisattvas, Kanon is the most well-known and the most often called upon. Probably millions of times a day people call upon Kanon. This wise one is very ancient. The very spirit of compassion in the universe. Kanon can appear in many different forms by skillful means to save sentient beings. And that may be a time where Kanon needs to look like a Buddha, so Kanon looks like a Buddha. Or maybe some other time they need to look like a Shravaka, which is a hearer, which is sort of like a very advanced Buddhist student. Kanon will come in that form. And if it's best to become the form of a deva or a god, that's the form that Kanon will take to reach you. Perhaps even a regular householder, a regular priest, a child, even sometimes other beings, non-human beings, will be the one or the manifestation of Kanon in your life in that moment when you need compassion and listening When Kanon hears our cries, we are blessed with his compassion, with wisdom, and a power to be brave. We are freed from suffering. Jizo Bodhisattva, who I just pointed out, there are cute little Jizo statues all over in Japan. There are many in China, but even more so in Japan, at all kinds of different temples. And I have another one here. A couple of our members were making them for a while, and they made the wood, and then they made the little hats. They're often offered to a temple when a couple loses a child, or even before the child is born. That's a common offering to honor that potentiality. Mm-hmm. The story of Jizo, when she was Brahmin girl, she asked the Buddha of her time how to rescue her mother, who had passed on and had gone to hell. So, Brahmin girl made offerings to the enlightened ones and effected the rescue of her mother from the hot place. But seeing all the other beings suffering there, she was so moved to become a bodhisattva. Jizo's sincerity and devotion to her ancestors serves as a model for all Buddhists. The vow she made lasts because of its nobility. She vowed, as long as beings suffer in hell, I will not become a Buddha. And finally, our friend here, Ho Tei Bodhisattva. In Asia, we often see this bodhisattva. Almost every shop or cafe or such place has Ho Tei present. We see Ho Tei here in America too, but more Chinese restaurants and Asian grocery stores kind of where we see him. Ho Tei is a bodhisattva who brings contentment and happiness. He is a guardian of children and a patron of bartenders, oddly enough. When I say patron of bartenders, now that sounds a little confusing, it's ambiguous. I mean that this is a bodhisattva who helps bartenders get through their day or night. I don't mean he's at the bar, because that would be a patron of a bar too, but anyway, I don't know, he's a pretty relaxed guy, so not to excess, however. Okay, Ho Tei is always cheerful. You can see that big belly has jolly, I think is an appropriate word. He is or will be the next Buddha, Maitreya, a Buddha of loving kindness. But that's some half a kalpa away or something like that. Ho Tei carries a large cloth bag over one shoulder. The bag never empties. It contains an inexhaustible supply of treasures, including food, drink, coins for adults, and candy for children. He also holds, often this statue doesn't have it, a fan. It's the Ugi fan, which is a wish-fulfilling fan. In scrolls, sometimes we'll see a group of children around Ho Tei too. And they're playing and they're happy. He's a jolly old elf. He's loosely based on an actual person in the 9th century in China, a Chan priest. He traveled giving candy to poor children and coins to poor folk. As the Buddha has told us, Shakyamuni Bodhisattva and Ho Tei Bodhisattva studied together under Tisha Buddha. But Shakyamuni Buddha became enlightened before Ho Tei. Why is that? Because Shakyamuni Buddha perfected the practice of living in gratitude, while Ho Tei excels in the practice of generosity. So today, Ho Tei Bodhisattva is still only a bodhisattva, still cultivating generosity by giving at every occasion and opportunity. But Ho Tei will get there, I'm sure. Now, sometimes I have been asked, are bodhisattvas real? Do you really mean that they're real? People don't ask that often. They think it, but they don't say it out loud. But every once in a while, somebody will blurt it out. Maybe at Newcomers Circle, which we have after our service. So if you're new, please come to that circle and ask questions. Now, it may be that people are just sheepish about awkward questions, or that might create some sense of confrontation or, yeah. But we answer all questions that are asked here openly, and yes, bodhisattvas are real. Anyone who says they are not real is patently wrong. These are very skeptical times. Did I say very skeptical? I think I did. It's harder to believe in things now than it has ever been. Maybe a person doesn't believe in anything. They have limited vision. Maybe they think that nothing can exist that we cannot comprehend with our little mind. For them, the spiritual world is less accessible. All of our individual, self-contained minds are small. Whether you're a scientist or a stonemason, it doesn't make a difference. We are all bonbunin, as the Shoshinge points out, petty little goofballs that struggle and get confused about things most of the time. That's just the way we are. In this vast universe, humans are small things, very similar to insects. Compared to the boundless beingness of the universe, I make that connection. We're small, and that's okay, and we're okay just as we are. That's fine. Okay, so bodhisattvas. Yes, there are bodhisattvas. Ho Tei, Kanon, Seishi, and dear little Jizo. They exist as certainly as love and generosity and faith exist. We all know that those things are real, and they give life its highest beauty and joy. I don't want to imagine a world without bodhisattvas. How could you not believe in bodhisattvas? It is difficult for small beings like us to imagine wonders unseen and those unseeable in the universe. We have limitations. The most real things in the world are things that we cannot see. We see them by faith, by loving kindness, compassion, and deep wisdom. We see them through deep hearing of the light. These ways of seeing push aside the veil of the calculating mind and see abiding beauty in everythingness. The Dharmakaya. In all the universe, there is nothing else more real and abiding or more beautiful than the unseen. The idea of no bodhisattvas is ridiculous. Of course, there are bodhisattvas. They live and have always lived. 500 years from now, they will continue to make our hearts smile, to share the Dharma, and to come to our aid with compassion and wisdom when we cry out. What I am trying to say is that we all contain and manifest this bodhisattva energy, and we can get better at allowing it to flow through us. We have had a wonderful holiday of giving recently, yesterday. Mr. Claus is a great example of a bodhisattva, embodied in everyone's aspiration toward generosity and joy. He manifests everywhere, unconstrained by material existence, but so very real, just the same. Let us share the Bodhisattva's great wish for all beings. Just say after me. May you be happy. May you be free from harm. May you receive boundless compassion. And may peace and harmony fill your heart. Namanda, namanda, namanda. Thank you for your kind attention. Usually at this point, we get the service book out of the seat back pocket in front of you and turn to the last-ish page, I think 49, and we sing together our Reno Buddhist Center theme song. So if you would stand as you're able. My legs are numb, so I can't stand up right now, but please go ahead if you can. And Masako will play the piano for us. Thank you. If you could be seated, I have a few announcements, most important of which is there are tea and treats downstairs. It's absolutely essential that you come downstairs and share treats with us because, if you think about it, the priests live at the temple, and if you folks don't eat the treats, what happens to us for 2 weeks after? They're just in the bowl, but they're in a plate, they're in the kitchen, just one, and then I end up eating a whole plate of chocolate. There's some interesting ones, too. They're made of nuts and seeds agglomerated together. I thought they were chocolate, but they're not. It's just sort of like molasses or something holding it together. You must try it. Okay, tea and treats downstairs right away. Newcomer Circle will, if you're new and you have any questions about RBC or Buddhism, or if you'd just like to have a treat, please come downstairs through these doors and we can have Newcomer Circle. There's other announcements in the order of service, but I won't read them all. Most important one is our New Year's Eve multi-faith midnight service will be on December 31st, starting at 10:30, ending at midnight. And we'll have guests from other faith traditions, and they all speak on a Buddhist topic, which will be interesting. The Buddhist topic this time is compassion. So I'm sure everyone will have some interesting thoughts there. So please come on the 31st, which is, I think, Friday? Friday next. Yeah, okay. That ends the service.